Apadam Datam Sarvasampadan Lokaviramam Shriram Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. A warm welcome to everyone. This is the third session of the ongoing Ramayana Kathalahari. So you all have seen, I hope you all have seen the poster for today's lecture. It might have been a bit surprising to many because it said Rama versus Rama. So throughout these years, we have only heard about Rama versus Ravana because Ramayana always highlights Rama versus Ravana. So this is a very unique thing where it is mentioned as Rama versus Rama. Let me clear one thing, that this session is not going to be about how Rama fought his own demons, his own shortcomings. He had self-doubt like Arjuna did, and then he overcame all those things. No, it's not going to happen. Sorry to burst the bubble, but that's not what we can expect in today's class. Anyway, so far we have come till the part where Rama and Lakshmana, along with Viśvāmitra, they reach the great land of Mithila. They are in the Asthanam, they are in the court of the Rajarshi, Janaka. So in that court of Rajarshi Janaka, Janaka's Purohita, called as Shatananda, who happened to be the son of Gautama and Ahalya, he started narrating the story of Viśvāmitra. He asked Rama a question. I'm very sure that you would have heard many stories from Viśvāmitra, but do you know the story of Viśvāmitra? Because that is very important for you to know. If you are under the tutelage of a guru, then you should know what a guru you have got. You should know about your guru. So do you know who is Viśvāmitra? And thus began the great legend of Viśvāmitra, which we discussed in length. I hope there are no more clarifications required in that regard. The story was pretty much clear to everybody, I hope. Since there were no questions regarding that, I assume that there were no questions. Now, moving ahead. Now, Janaka, as of now, was not aware why Viśvāmitra has visited him. He knew, he was very happy that Viśvāmitra, along with Rama and Lakshmana, have visited him. But he was not sure why has Viśvāmitra visited him. See, people like Viśvāmitra, they don't come to our houses every day. If they are visiting our house, it means that they have some very important thing, or they have something in their mind. This was the reason why even Dasharatha was surprised when Viśvāmitra came to his court before. And when he was surprised, this is the difference between Dasharatha and Janaka. Even though both of them are old and wise, and yet somehow they both are a bit different in the way they react to the coming of Viśvāmitra. When Viśvāmitra came to Dasharatha's court, Dasharatha panicked. He was anxious. So he gave his word right away. Whatever your wish is my command, and it shall be done. Dasharatha gave his word. And then we all know how he reacted when once Viśvāmitra asked Dasharatha to send Rama and Lakshmana. Whereas Janaka was a very composed man, very calm and composed in nature. He did not utter anything. He listened to Shatananda narrating the story of Viśvāmitra, and he never even questioned Viśvāmitra. But Viśvāmitra knew that it becomes his responsibility now, since he has not asked a single question. He's very happy to receive Viśvāmitra and the other distinguished guests. But it is the guest's responsibility, if the host doesn't ask, that you should tell your host, why are you here? Because it will be rude for the host to ask you, why are you here? Isn't it? If somebody visits us, can we ask them that, why are you here? If they are our guests, can we ask our guests, why are you here? What is your purpose of visit? you cannot ask them. It will be very rude. So Janaka did not ask Viśvāmitra. But Viśvāmitra knew that he had to speak because he did not want to waste any time. So Viśvāmitra said that, say, I have brought these two young boys with me to Mithila, to the great land of Mithila, because these two are interested to see that great bow that you have in your possession. Now, mark this word, possession, because we are going to have a very important argument regarding this word in the first half of this session. They just want to see that dhanus. They just want to see that great dhanus that you have in your possession. And this is the reason why I have brought them so far. So, fine. Janaka, unlike Dasharatha, did not say that right away, master, right away I'm going to bring you that. No. He narrated a small history of that bow, of that dhanus. It's not a simple bow. It's not your regular bow, but it has got some history behind it. It has got a legend of its own. So what was it? He said that there was a great king, our ancestor. In our family, there was a great king named Devarata. That was his name. He was Janaka's ancestor. Devarata was a great king. And Lord Mahadeva gave his own dhanus to him. To have the possession of his dhanus, he appointed, or he chose, our ancestor called as Devarata. Since Devarata, it has become a family heirloom for us. It has become a thing of greatness for us. It has become a legacy for us, and we have kept in our family for a very long time. So when did Bhagavan Mahadev, when did Lord Mahadev give this to us? He says that there was a time when the gods were not willing to give a part of the sacrifice that is offered by the rishis to Mahadeva. See, Mahadeva has always been the deprived one, the oppressed one, if you may call him so. Okay, so I mean, nobody calls him so, but just to make sure that we are on the same page, because we live in the same society. So you know the terminologies that we are very much acquainted with in today's world. So that's why I had to deliberately use that kind of a word. But he was not the oppressed one, but he appeared to be so. The gods never gave him his share of the sacrifices. Whatever they gained from the yajnas and yagas performed by many people on this earth, everything went to the gods, and it was divided. Agni used to carry from Bhuloka to Swargaloka, and then it was distributed. Mahadeva never got his share. So once Mahadeva became very angry, and he said that he took his bows and arrows, and he decided that I will finish you off. This is not one time. You people keep on doing this with me. I am fed up with you all. So when Mahadeva was so angry with the gods, he decided to destroy them, and he took upon his bow and arrows. That's when the gods realized that they have committed a mistake. So again, the same thing. They apologized, very quick to apologize. The Devatas, the gods, they apologized to Mahadeva. And you know that one word that we love to use for Lord Mahadeva, Ashutosha. He becomes angry, true, very true. But his anger doesn't stay for a very long time. He can be pleased very quickly, Ashutosha. So after that, he decided that if I have this dhanus with me, then I might get angry again in future. So let me not have this dhanus. And he gave it to Devarata, because he was a great Shiva Bhakta. Devarata was a great Shiva Bhakta, so he gave it to his devotee, Devarata. And since then, they have maintained this in their family. Janaka told a little history of this. And why am I narrating this part of the story? Because this can be said in one line also. The reason why I'm deliberately explaining this is this particular part of the story holds a very significant position in the argument, or in the case of Rama versus Rama. So that's why this story is very vital. Moving on, he said that Once, after this has been our family heirloom, there is no question about it. And one fine day, when we were plowing the field, we found a baby girl. So Sita was not born to anybody. There is no Sita's mother. So she was found while plowing the field. Just imagine what a great country ours was, or ours is. When the fields are plowed in other countries, they find dead bodies, isn't it? They find skeletons from the past. But in the great land of Mithila, when Janaka plowed the field, he found Sita. That's why the name Sita, because Sita is the instrument, is the tool used to plow the field. Since she was received, or since she was discovered while plowing the field, she was named after that tool itself. That's why she was called as Sita. She is called as Maithili because she was born in Mithila. She's called as Vaidehi because she was born in the great country of Videha. She is called as Janaki because she is the daughter of Janaka. So these are the many names of Sita and their meanings as well. Right. So ever since she was born, or ever since Sita was discovered, I decided that she shall not be given away to a groom like we give away our other daughters. The daughters who are born from the union of man and a woman, they can be given away because they are the parents' property. I know these words may seem very ridiculous to hear, especially at this age, in today's perspective, but none of them had any problem. Because they were provided with every single thing that they wanted. They were given good education. They were all well versed in all the Shastras. They knew the customs and traditions. They were well trained in the culture. They knew how to build a family. That is the greatest skill a woman should have. And they were trained in all those things, along with the Vedas, Shastras, and other things. So, since Sita is not born from Janaka's wife, so Janaka decided that while marrying her, I cannot give her away just like that. She should be earned by a man who is fit to marry her. How do you determine that a man is fit enough to marry a person like Sita? So Janaka decided that we have this gift bestowed upon us by Lord Mahadeva. So why don't I keep this as a gamble? I will make this as a challenge that whoever picks up this Shivadhanus and breaks it will be known as the true warrior, and we will know his capability, and he will be good enough to take care of Sita. All right, so this was the norm, and there were many people who were interested in Sita because she was the most beautiful woman that ever existed back in those days. So many kings and princes, they were interested in Sita, and also the princes and the kings, they had one more reason to envy Janaka and the state of Mithila. That was the Shivadhanus. They all had heard stories about Shivadhanus. It had become famous that nobody could even lift the Shivadhanus. So it became an unannounced challenge to every king in every nook and corner of this world that we want to try. I want to go there to Mithila and try and lift that Shivadhanus. So if I lift that, I will be bestowed with another gift. That is, I will be married to Sita, the most beautiful woman. So as we say, one stone and two birds. You will be the greatest warrior because you will be the most strong, you will be the strongest man alive. And at the same time, you will marry a beautiful girl. So who would not want this kind of a deal? Everybody wanted. So most of the kings, they tried their luck. They visited Mithila, but they failed. They failed miserably. They could not even lift it. The challenge was not just to lift the Shivadhanus, but to break that Shivadhanus. Forget about breaking, they were not even able to lift it. in order to break a dhanus, in order to break a bow, you have to hold the dhanus in one hand. They used both their hands, and yet they were not able to lift the dhanus. So that was the case. So when every king failed miserably, they decided that we shall form a forum, we shall form a committee of ourselves. And they all got behind a single motive. They had a single purpose for their life. That is to attack Janaka. Because I think he's doing some black magic and all. That's what the kings thought. He's doing some voodoo magic and all. Because how come so powerful men like us, we are not able to lift a small dhanus? We are not able to lift one dhanus. And here we are amongst ourselves. We have a person like Ravana. He existed even during that time. We have a person like Ravana who, with his bare hands, he lifted Kailas Parvata. He could not lift Shiva Dhanus. You must be joking. They could not believe themselves. So they formed a union and then they attacked Janaka. Janaka defended along with his army, but he could not defend for a very long time. So what Janaka did was, he went to Lord Mahadeva. He said, this is your problem. See, I am keeping your dhanus with me. That's why people are attacking me. So automatically, it becomes your responsibility as well to protect me. He said, don't worry. So Lord Parameshwara, he gave him some astras. And he said that you go ahead and you fight them and you will survive. Nothing to worry. So Janaka came back with some gifts from Mahadeva, and then he fought and he survived. He warded him off. So why did Dana narrate such a huge story to Viśvāmitra? Viśvāmitra obviously knew, but his intention was to tell this story, narrate this story to Rama and Lakshmana. Because these two boys, they might have killed Subahu, they might have protected Viśvāmitra's yajna. But that is one thing. But lifting Shiva Dhanus and breaking that Shiva Dhanus is a different thing, because Shiva Dhanus at that point of time, in that age, was invincible. Nobody were able to even lift it. So he just prepared a huge history behind that Shiva Dhanus. Now they were interested. And now this is the time that Janaka orders his minister to show the Shiva Dhanus. And 500 men carried their Shivas, not 2 or 3 people. 500 men. It took 500 men to carry the Shiva Dhanus. They placed it in front of Janaka and they went away. And then Janaka showed. He opened the box and he showed the Shiva Dhanus to Rama and Lakshmana. And he said that Naitat Suragana Sarve. Not even the gods are capable enough to lift this. Not even the demons, not even the great mighty kings. None of them are able to lift this dhanus. And he said, Darshayaitat, O Viśvāmitra, please present this. Please show this to Rama and Lakshmana. And Viśvāmitra called upon Rama. He said, son, look at this. This is the great Shiva Dhanus. This is why we came here. All the way from Ayodhya or all the way from Siddhashrama, we came to Mithila just to see this thing of beauty. And then Rama's humbleness. You cannot get another man like Rama. He has utmost respect for Shiva Dhanus. He has listened to each and every word Janaka spoke. He had highest regard for Shiva Dhanus. So he says that idam dhanur varam divyam. He says that this is a divine dhanus. Look at the words that Rama uses. He says that no doubt that this is a divine dhanus. And I shall try and touch this. These are the words of Rama. Samsprushami hapani. I'm just trying to touch this because I want to feel the divinity within me. And in order to feel the divinity, I'm just going to touch this. I'm not saying that, I'm not claiming that I will be able to lift this and break this. Rama did not want to do that. He just simply wanted to touch this divine dhanus. That was our Rama. And then he says that once if I touch that, And if that Dhanus permits me, this is the intention behind using such words. If the Dhanus permits me, then I will try. By the grace of the Dhanus, I will try to lift it and break it. So everybody in that court, they agreed. They were very happy to listen to such humble words coming out from a great warrior or a potential great warrior like Rama. So they said, okay, fine, go ahead. So Rama went there. He touched that Shiva Dhanus and then he lifted it. Everybody, they were astonished because not in their whole lifetime they had seen one man lifting that Dhanus. And here it is, barely 18 years old Rama. He is still a guy. He is not even a man yet. He is still a boy. And here is Rama, an 18-year-old boy. He easily lifted it. Just like lifting a garland of flowers. He lifted the Shiva Dhanus. He held that Shiva Dhanus in one hand and he broke it into two pieces. And the sound that came as the Dhanus broke down, it sent shivers throughout Mithila. That was the impact of Shiva Dhanus. People thought that there was an earthquake. It was not an earthquake. They thought that something has happened. What was it? The Shiva Dhanus, the great Shiva Dhanus, has been finally broken. Now, this was the moment that Janaka was waiting for such a long time. He had a responsibility on his shoulders. He carried that huge responsibility on his shoulders to get Sita married to an eligible man, to a capable man. Here he is finally able to perform his duty, perform his responsibilities. So he was very happy. So he says that, as true to my words, as I said before, I shall give Sita to Rama. May my dutas, messengers, may they travel as quickly as possible to Ayodhya, and may they give the good news to Dasharatha that his son is going to get married. See? Again, this is typical patriarchal society things, isn't it? A woman needs to be given, whereas a man can choose his own bride. Rama did not even choose. He did not even see Sita. He did not even had Sita in his mind. He just wanted to lift that Shiva Dhanus and break it. It was Janaka's responsibility, because Janaka had given his word that whoever breaks this Shiva Dhanus or whoever lifts this Shiva Dhanus, I shall give my daughter Sita to that person. So he sent his messengers. Now everything happened so quickly, even though it was not the time when aeroplanes were there. And yet the messengers traveled 3 days, day and night. He says that. Triratram. Valmiki uses that word. They never rested, not even for a single minute. They traveled continuously for 3 days and 3 nights. They reached Ayodhya. They saw Dasharatha. Dasharatha was old. He was wise. He looked like Indra. So they bowed down to him and they said that we have a message from Raja Janaka, all the way from Mithila. Your sons, Rama and Lakshmana, have reached Mithila under the protection of Viśvāmitra, and they wanted to see the great Shiva Dhanus. Even Dasharatha obviously had heard about Shiva Dhanus. He was like, oh, okay. Oh yes, there is a question. I will answer this question at the end of this first session. I will take up this question. So he said that the messengers told Dasharatha that as true to his words, Janaka has decided to give his daughter Sita to Rama. So your gracious presence is expected. Now, Dasharatha did not know what to say, or even if he knew, he had to follow a protocol. Let's call this as a protocol. So what was the protocol back in those days? Somebody says that your son has chosen a bride to a king. Now the king has to follow some protocols. That protocol was, he conveyed an emergency meeting where all the mantris, all the ministers, all the Purohitas, especially Vasishtha, they were all present. And he asked Vasishtha in particular What do you make of it? What should we do? He said, this is a great thing that has happened. It's all because of Viśvāmitra's grace. This has happened because of Viśvāmitra. So what's there to think about? Let's go. It's a marriage. So everybody was happy, and they started their journey. Now, before they started their journey, because they had to travel a long time, and they had to travel a long way. So Dasharatha was very intelligent in this regard. He said that, may my messengers, who are as quick as the messengers of Janaka, may they reach before us. May they exchange pleasantries. May they tell Janaka that we are coming. So they were sent, and he also, along with them, he sent many gifts that were required to perform a marriage. As we know, a big fat Indian wedding. So whatever is required in a wedding, so Dasharatha sent beforehand, and then they all traveled. The entire part, the whole thing, the whole family, they started their journey. They reached. It took around a week for them to reach. They reached Mithila, and Dasharatha went straight up to Janaka. They both exchanged, two great old men meeting each other, greeting each other. What a sight to behold, isn't it? What a sight it could have been to see such great kings greeting each other. Now, there is a beautiful conversation that happens between these two men. Since my work has been in conversations, I'm fascinated by the conversations that happened in Ramayana. So, after the exchange of pleasantries, Dasharatha says to, Janaka told Dasharatha that my Satra, he was performing a yaga which was supposed to end the very next day. He said that tomorrow is the conclusion of my Satra. So after that, we can have the wedding, if it pleases you. Now, you all know how usually in Indian scenario, unfortunately, the groom side, they are very demanding. And you all agree to this. You will all nod your head to this, because that has become, unfortunately, the norm. So according to their will and fancies, everything is decided. But that was not the case here. You know what Dasharatha told Janaka? Pratigraho datrivasha. Mark these words. What a beautiful line. He said that, see, we are here to receive a gift. What is that gift? Sita herself is a gift for us. Can you get better gift than a great woman? A Kanya Ratnam, she is called as a Ratnam, is not simply a Kanya, she is a Kanya Ratnam. And we are the lucky ones who are getting a Kanya Ratnam. So we are the Pratigrahita. Pratigrahita is the one who receives the gift. And you are the Data. You are the one who is going to perform Kanya Danam. So Pratigraho Datrvashaha. We are always under your command. So whenever you want to give your daughter to us, we are pleased to have her. These were the words of Dasharatha. And then, as we all know, Janaka was a Rajarshi. He knew every Shastra. So he says that it's a good thing that you mentioned. See, today is Makha Nakshatram. 3 days later, there is Uttara Phalguni Nakshatram. So can we have the wedding 3 days from now? Very quick. No engagement, no pre-marriage shoots, nothing. It's just that it's already decided that Sita will be given to Rama, and they've decided that today is Makha, and he calculated himself, because he was a great astrologer himself, Janaka, and he said that 3 days from now, Uttara Phalguni Nakshatram will be there, which is considered to be the most auspicious star to get married. So why don't we have the marriage on that day? And agreed. So engagement, Nichitartham, Vagdanam is done. So both the parties have agreed, both the families have agreed. And then he says that tomorrow morning, after the conclusion of his Satram, he again came to visit Dasharatha, and he told him that since there are 3 more days left, why don't you perform the essential things that are needed to be done for the groom? So Godanam, needs to be done before marriage. And then Pitru Puja needs to be done before marriage. The word Pitru Puja is used in Valmiki Ramayana. These are Valmiki's words. In today's perspective, if you observe, there is Nandi. There is something called as Nandi. Especially in South Indian weddings, you will always have a Nandi before the wedding. In different cultures, in different sampradayas, in different communities, it is performed in a different way. They have different names for that. That's all. The idea behind all those customs and traditions is the same. That is, before you get married, before you get a man and a woman married, you must seek the blessings of your ancestors. What is the ultimate purpose of marriage? To get a good santan, to continue the legacy, isn't it? In order to do that, you need the blessings of we need the blessings of our ancestors. So Janaka mentioned that, and he said, agreed. But before that, there happened a very interesting conversation where Dasharatha said that since you know that we don't speak, we Ikshvaku Vamsha people, we the people of Ikshvaku Vamsha, we never speak for ourselves. We have kept a speaker for on behalf of us. It's always Vasishtha who speaks on behalf of us. So I don't want to say about my own family, my own ancestors, but this is our family. And thus began the great list of the kings that were in Rama's family before Ram. So I shall not get into the detail because every king has his own history. So we will not get into that. But the famous ones I will mention because we already know about Sagara. We have heard the story of Sagara before. So after Sagara, we have heard his son. There was Asamanja. From Asamanja, there was Amshuman, Dilipa, Bhagiratha, Kakutstha. These are the kings that followed them. Raghu, Kalmashapada, Shankhana, Sudarshana, Agnivarna, Shighraga, Maru, Prashushruka, Ambarisha, Nahusha, Yayati, Nabhaga, Aja. And Aja's son was Dasharatha. And Dasharatha had 4 sons. And the eldest one was Rama. This was from the groom's side. Now the favor must be returned. Even Sita belonged to a great family, isn't it? So Janaka began narrating and he said that my father, he also mentioned starting from Nimi till Hrasparoma. Hrasparoma was Janaka's father. And Janaka was actually named as Siradhvaja. They were 2 brothers, Siradhvaja and Kushadhvaja. Kushadhvaja was the youngest, Siradhvaja was the eldest. The eldest one was also called as Janaka. This was a very common practice back in those days. You have heard that Rama is usually called as Raghava. Raghukula Tilaka, Raghava. How come he is called as Raghava? Why do we remember Rama by the name of Raghu, the great king Raghu? It's just the norm in those days. So anyway, so he mentions his family and he narrated how they discovered Sita. Sita was not born. So she was discovered. He narrated the entire thing and everything was done. And here comes the Vagdanam. So this is the most important aspect of any wedding, even to this day. We call it as engagement these days. A huge party, nonsensical. What needs to be done is Vagdanam. The Kanya Pita, the father of the bride, must give his word thrice. Any line told thrice, it becomes confirmed. That's why even in our day-to-day conversations, if we want to stress upon a particular thing, you might have observed that we utter the same thing twice or thrice because it becomes confirmed, affirmation. So Janaka has to confirm because it is his property that he has to give. It is his property, yes, right. But property, I mean, he has a treasure in his house. And just imagine if you have treasure in your house, would you give it to anybody? No, right? You would want to test the man. You would want to look at the person's capability whether he is capable enough to take care of your treasure or not. So Sita was Janaka's treasure. Okay, let's not use the word property. But if we use the word treasure, I don't think there would be any objection, even from hardcore feminists, I guess. They're calling women as not property but treasure. So he says that dadami paramapritaha vadvau te munipunga. So I shall give my daughter Sita to Rama. And since Rama was always associated with Lakshmana, even Sita had another sibling, and her name was Urmila. They both had both Lakshmana plays a major role, but we don't hear much about Urmila. Unfortunate, because she had no major role to play in shaping the course of Ramayana. That's why there is no mention of her. That's all. So Sitam Ramaya. So I shall give Sita to Rama and Urmila to Lakshmana. And then he says that Dadami Paramaprita. He repeats that line, exact same line he repeats twice. And then he says that you may proceed with Godanam and Pitrikaryancha Bhadrante Tado Vaivahikam. So everything is settled. And then Viśvāmitra was very happy. Even Vasishtha was very happy. Viśvāmitra says a few words. He says that Sadrusho Dharma Sambandha. What a beautiful union is this, because two great families are being brought together. There could be no other great thing than this. So he was very happy, and it is happening in the presence, in the auspicious, in the gracious presence of such great Brahmarshis, two stalwarts of the Rishikulam. Vasishtha, the old wise Vasishtha, and the young and dynamic Viśvāmitra, both Brahmarshis. And it is happening right in the presence of these two great men. So he was very happy. And then Dasharatha began with the customs, and he gave thousands and thousands of cows as part of Godanam. And later on, he performed Nandi, what we call as Nandi. But it is not mentioned as Nandi in Valmiki Ramayana, it is mentioned as Tirupuja. So it was done. And then that day arrived. We are on the day of wedding. We have arrived at the day of wedding. It was Uttara Phalguni Nakshatram. The Devata, the Adhishtatra Devata for Uttara Phalguni Nakshatram is Bhaga, who happens to be the protector of marriages, protector of unions. So everything was set. They asked who should be the Pradhana priest, chief priest, who would make the wedding happen. It's a very obvious choice. If you have many priests in your circle, then you would obviously choose the eldest one or the oldest one, because he will be the wisest one. So they all chose Vasishtha. Vasishtha began. And the Muhurtam, so we all worry about that Dhara Muhurtam, right? In which Muhurtam should the bride and groom get married? So even Rama and Sita's Vivaha happened in a particular Muhurta. Ramayana is an ocean that has many insights into Jyotisha. So this particular incident, it gives us a small glimpse into the Muhurta Prakarana of Jyotisha. Valmiki says that Yukte Muhurte Vijaye. The Muhurta was called as Vijaya. There she was, Sita, decorated. She looked like a damsel, a divine damsel. So she was all decorated. And here was Rama. He was also well built, and all. He was surrounded with many people, and you know how usually the weddings happen. So everything was there. So Iyam Sita Mama Suta, one of the greatest ever lines to be written in Valmiki's Ramayana. Iyam Sita Mama Suta. This is such a beautiful line that even to this day, you won't believe it, even to this day, as I speak, in many South Indian marriages, this particular shloka is used in some sampradayas, in some communities. When the Vivaha is happening, when Kanyadanam is happening, this is the shloka that they utter. Even to this day. Iyam Sita Mama Suta Sahadharmachari Tava. Here she is, my daughter Sita. She will be your Sahadharmachari. Dharmapatni, she will be your Dharmapatni. Please take her. Paningranhishpapanina. So this is the only time when two persons used to shake hands. Either because shaking hands denoted a union. So a union so strong that it cannot be broken. If you shake hands with a person, it means that you are bound to stay with that person throughout your life. We get this particular type of Pani Grahanam in two occasions throughout Ramayana. One is when during the marriage of Rama and Sita. The another incident, another episode where we get this Pani Grahanam is during Rama and Sugriva's friendship. They legitimize their friendship in the presence of fire god, Agni. So if we shake hands everywhere and anywhere we go without the presence of fire, it is illegal. It has got no legitimacy. If you really want to shake hands, or if you shake hands in the presence of fire god, it means that you are bound forever. So that happened. Paningranhishpapanina. This is the reason why Vivaha is called as Pani Grahanam, not Prani Grahanam. Pani Grahanam. Pani means hand. Taking one by their hand. Paningranhishpapanina. It's a beautiful poem. The usage of vibhaktis, he plays with the words, Valmiki. He is a master at this art. So he does that. And he says that she will be a pativrata and she will always be with you. Chaye vanugatasada, like a shadow following a man. She will always follow you. And how did he give her? Valmiki initially mentions that he dropped jalam, water, a drop of water, while giving Sita's hand to Rama. So that was not merely a water, mantrodaka puraskrita. It was auspicious water because it was uttered along with mantras he gave Sita to Rama. This is the Kanyadanam. This is the Muhurtam. This is the most vital part. All right. And then he called upon Lakshmana, and then he gave Urmila's hand to him. And before this, it was decided that his brother Kushadhwaja had two daughters. They were Mandavi and Shrutakirti. They were the daughters of Kushadhwaja, his younger brother. So they were betrothed to Bharata and Shatrughna. So all four brothers married four sisters. What a great union. They found all their wives in the same family. So they did not go elsewhere. So Mandavi was married to Bharata. Shrutakirti was married to Shatrughna. All four looked gracious, absolutely majestic. And then both Janaka and Kushadhwaja, they both gave plenty of gifts to their daughters. I mean, there is a huge list of the gifts given by their parents. I'm not going to spend much time on that because if I say all the things, then there are people who will draw conclusions or join the dots and say that the dowry system emerged from Ramayana. No. No, I don't want to put such ideas in your head. So I will simply make the statement that he gave plenty of gifts to all his four daughters. And then they were about to leave Mithila and they started their journey towards Ayodhya.